Dennis got one back from Watford. Harry Winks looks relieved. He says to Enzo Maresca, I know. But Jamie Vardy says, do not worry. Goals from Patson Daka from the penalty spot, and then a very special team goal finished off by Ricardo, the difference. And Maresca runs to Harry Winks and picks him up and hugs him. Great management and a great 3 points. Full-time score at a golden Vicarage Road with this sunset. Watford 1, Leicester 2.
Yes, another victory for the Foxes. That puts them on to 75 points for the season after just 31 games. We've still got the pictures from Vicarage Road, of course. We'll talk about the victory and the goals in the second half, and Leicester maybe making a little bit harder work in the second half than what they maybe needed to, but it doesn't matter. 3 points is what they've got, and you can see, I guess, the relief, Matt Elliott in and amongst the players. It's not the wild celebrations we've seen a number of times away from home this season, that there is a sense of relief.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. You know, each game brings its own sort of emotions, doesn't it, and its own pattern, the way the game has gone. But like last week was sort of satisfaction, wasn't it? Pure, with the comprehensive manner of the victory. Today was a little bit of a battle. They struggled to get their real flowing game going at all, really, at any stage. Just the odd instance, the goal in particular from Ricardo. But yeah, they had to grind it out a touch, which is fine. Enzo Maresca will be just as happy with that 3 points as he was the 3 against Stoke last weekend.
Yeah, and in particular, Ricardo's second goal was straight off the training ground, something that Enzo's worked on all season, and to see it coming on a match day at an away game at a difficult place to go, you have to say. I know Watford's home record isn't great, only 5 wins all season, but they've had a few draws there, and all right, you could say they've hung on, but that is the championship, and that is, especially at this stage of the season, Leicester coming through a difficult game, scoring one of the goals of the season, you'd have to say, with Ricardo's goal. So yeah, job well done. Absolutely, you can see what it means to Enzo, you can see what it means to the fans and the players. And that's what it's about, just keeping that motor running, just keep on chugging down the line, and that's exactly what they've done today.
Yeah, Tony Cottee is there at Vicarage Road. He's seeing this in the flesh, in person. It's brilliant, and we've seen it a lot this season. Tony Enzo really makes a point of taking his players over to the away end.
Yeah, and quite rightly so as well, Dan. I mean, the Leicester fans have been fantastic the whole 90 minutes. Been right behind their team, very, very vocal. And even when it was quiet, the Watford fans were very quiet at times in this game. But the Leicester fans have made an incredible amount of noise. But it's been a really hard 3 points. And I watched at the end of the game, Dewsbury Hall, Fatawu almost had their hands on their knees where they put so much effort into this match. It's been a really, really tough game for the boys, but a well-deserved 3 points at the end, and it could be a crucial 3 points at the end of the season.
Yeah, and always great seeing those scenes with the travelling supporters.
Absolutely, yeah, and some of the boys now, because Casey McAteer, Hamza Chowdhury throwing their shirts into the crowd, particularly to the ones down the front, which is fantastic, and they're all in together, you can see that, and there's been a lot of talk about celebrating. Even Jamie Vardy now is going over to give his shirt to a Watford fan as well. There's someone down the front asked for Jamie's shirt, which is fantastic, but a lot of talk about celebrations recently, hasn't there? But you've got to enjoy it. The boys in the studio will tell you 3 points is massive in the Championship and in the Premier League, and that's a big 3 points today.
Absolutely, yeah. Big 3 points for the Foxes. They remain 11 clear of Southampton, who did indeed come back in the second half against Huddersfield. They're 12 clear of Leeds as well, which is probably the key one at the moment, who are in third place at the moment. Ipswich dropping points earlier in the day. Welcome along to Matchday Live, our post-match show. We've got Matt Elliott and Jerry Taggart on the sofa. We'll continue to hear from Tony Cottee, as well as getting his man of the match for today's game. But it's a bit of a grind in the end, as we've already spoken about, Jerry, but 3 points is 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you're going to find these games, if you look at Watford, they've made 3 substitutions. Dennis, who played it, who was a real thorn, who was a really decent player in the Premier League, never mind the Championship for Watford. Tom Ince comes on the pitch as well. you know, who's been around the block, you know, experienced player. They're an athletic team. They looked a big, strong, physical, athletic team. Yes, they lacked a bit of quality, and you could see that in the show today. But, you know, when Watford made the substitutes, they sort of, you know, they made a contribution to Watford, you know, getting back in the game, albeit from an uncharacteristic mistake from Harry Winks. And that is the only reason why, in my opinion, that Watford basically piled a bit of pressure on. It comes from a Harry Winks mistake. If that mistake doesn't happen, Leicester probably go on and score another, with Watford trying to throw caution to the wind. So, you know, they were gifted a goal. They didn't create that many opportunities. So, and when you play that style of football, sooner or later, unfortunately, you are going to make the odd mistake here and there, and it just happened to be Harry Winks today.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will,
No,
you know, labour the point too much. Harry Winks, I think you've seen it there on the screen. Maresca, he basically reading between the lines. It was like, "Hey, Harry, don't worry about it. It's gone. It's gone. It's not an issue." You know, just reinforcing what we already knew he was going to say to Harry Winks, because, you know, he's spoken about that side of Leicester's play, hasn't he? Before, you know, playing in that risky way and balancing it out over the course of time. Over the breadth of the season, it will serve more positively than negative. Yeah, it just shows you. I suppose it sort of reinforces again what Maresca says before the game, how difficult it is to get results. Like, really, you know, how much effort. I know you could contradict that by saying Leicester have won so many games, but they've had to really apply themselves a lot of times. It's not always a walk in the park. They don't go and you know, totally tear teams apart. It's just instances, moments in games that they're able to capitalise on at times, and they're having to slog it out a little bit. The stats read in Watford's favour today, which you wouldn't have expected, but you also had that underlying feeling, regardless of the stats, that Leicester were going to win that game. You know, it was theirs to lose, wasn't it? Anything can happen in the latter stages, but overall, you know, you just had that feeling that Leicester had done enough. They got themselves in that position. They nearly chucked it away. And Watford were always going to up the ante a touch, weren't they? I think they were poor first half, feeling their way. But, you know, job done, isn't it? And again, showing to the supporters as well, one, how much they're wanted and respected and needed and appreciated, but also how hard, like, Leicester didn't play particularly eye-catchingly today, but that win is just as important as any other. And it was almost, I thought there was a little message to the supporters going, okay, we weren't at our best, but still back. We won, but make sure you back us because we need you.
And you get that. You get that especially in this league, where if you're going to win this league or get out of this league, you're going to win games that aren't particularly pleasing on the eye. And you're going to win games where you're swashbuckling and, you know, cutting through the opposition like a hot knife through butter. And today was one of those games where I had to stand strong, big counted, and dig in deep. And the result is still the same.
Yep. Tony, you look at the stats as Matt's referenced, actually, they got over double the amount of shots Watford had compared to Leicester. Leicester did have more possession, but apart from the Mads Hermansen save really towards the end, which was a good one, there was a blocked attempt, wasn't there, off Fast that went nearly, well, it went only just wide, didn't it? But I think the Mads save was offside anyway. Despite the pressure, didn't it actually really look like scoring Watford? I mean, it might have been different for you there.
Well, watching the game live, Dan, I think I've listened to what the boys are saying and I agree with it, but it was almost a bit too easy for Leicester. It felt so easy, particularly in that first half where they, you know, Watford, as you quite rightly said, you know, they, you know, in terms of shots on target, very, very few shots on target from both teams, and Leicester were just so comfortable, and, you know, it was almost like the second goal went in and it was, well, we'll just play out the last sort of 25 minutes and that, and, you know, this is easy type of thing and that, and, you know, Leicester are so good. I think that's sort of, it's not a problem. It's a fantastic problem to have if it is a problem. But Leicester are so good at the moment that it was almost a little bit too easy. The crowd were really flat. There was hardly any noise from the Watford fans. There wasn't a lot happening. And then, of course, triple substitution. the atmosphere changed, and of course Harry's made a mistake, but no one's got. I would have thought in the dressing room, I would have thought he'd be singing his praises rather than picking out on one mistake. He's been sensational since he came to the football club, and I think that was what the cuddle was at the end of the game. Don't worry about that, Harry. I'm looking at all the other games where you've been brilliant. I'm not looking at that one mistake, and of course it brought Watford back into the game, and they lifted it and everything. But it was a really hard won 3 points, and we used to. The boys I tell you in the studio, we used to joke and call ourselves the Grinders, and sometimes as much as you want to play free-flowing football and you want to win games 5-0 like you did against Stoke last week, you can't do that every week. It's impossible to do it in the Championship. It was a grinding performance, but a really thoroughly deserved 3 points at the end.
Yes, we will get Tony Cottee's man of the match in a little moment. Hopefully we'll get some reaction live from pitchside as well at Vicarage Road, still to come here on Match Day Live. We've got a short break. Before we do that, we have to remind you that Tuesday night's game against Sheffield Wednesday is available to watch on Fox's Hub to absolutely everybody. It's a global game, available for just £10. Now, the last time Leicester played against Sheffield Wednesday, in the league at King Power Stadium, there were 2 fantastic goals.
Onto his left and into the bottom corner. A sweeping move from Leicester City. Absolutely. Spread out of the top drawer from the little Frenchman. The champions elect back on track in some style.
Who wants to join me? Shopping at King Power. 3-day, 2-night stay booked. See ya.
To the rooftop bar.
To snap a photo for my IG.
To eat the famous pad thai.
The new collection is calling me.
Sure, there's a perfume I want. Let me ask my sis.
Yes, of course I'm going. Leicester City, Fox never quit.
Let's go. It's possible because King Power is more than just duty-free. Shop latest trends in beauty and gadgets. Your coolest staycation. The legendary pad thai, best street food in town. A place to support your team, a fancy dinner, enjoy shopping at downtown stores and online, or even the thrill of a new experience. Explore your everyday possibilities. The power of possibilities. King Power.
The new season's nearly here and the opinions are getting stronger.
We've got serious pulling power now.
What? To get the top 2 players now?
Right?
It's like I've been saying, if he settles the squad, we'll be back on top.
Only this time we're going for the quadruple.
You are joking, aren't you?
The time for talk is nearly over.
With over £4 million in free bet giveaways and huge price boosts, kick off your season with Sky Bet. That's betting better.
Jameson Black Barrel unlocks a richer taste experience from barrels charred black by fire for notes of butterscotch, toasted oak and, ooh, moments like this.
You're built different. Breathing new life into broken. Taking matters into your own hands. Assembling big dreams from the small things. Never stopping until you find the right part at the right price. That's the eBay way.
Hello, football fans. This is a smart meter display. It helps you tackle energy usage, manage your spending, and keep you on target. Now that's a hat trick. Search Get a Smart Meter today.
Jameson Black Barrel unlocks a richer taste experience from barrels charred black by fire for notes of butterscotch, toasted oak, and ooh, moments like this.
The new season's nearly here and the opinions are getting stronger.
We've got serious pulling power now.
What? To get the top 2 players now.
Aye?
It's like I've been saying, if he settles the squad, we'll be back on top.
Only this time we're going for the quadruple.
You are joking, aren't you?
The time for talk is nearly over.
With over £4 million in free bet giveaways and huge price boosts, kick off your season with Sky Bet. That's betting better.
Welcome back to Matchday Live here on Foxes Hub. Following another Leicester City victory on the road this afternoon. It finished Watford 1, Leicester City 2. They just about got there in the end. We've got Matt Elliott and Jerry Taggart on the sofa alongside me, Dan Bates. And Tony Cottee is still in position at Vicarage Road as we talk you through that victory. Hopefully as well we'll get some reaction from maybe Enzo Maresca and potentially one of the players as well live from Vicarage Road. We'll maybe get that, we maybe won't. Let's talk ourselves though about the victory and about the goals. Firstly, penalty definitely was a penalty, wasn't it? Patson Daka slotting it away brilliantly.
Yeah, I thought you were struggling for a subject then,
No.
but yeah, no, the penalty. Yeah, I think that we addressed that at half time, didn't we? Or Jerry did. It was clumsy, wasn't it? You know, in the extreme, and Leicester were looking pretty dangerous in and around this time as well. Watford looked very open, you know, to exposure really, but Leicester didn't quite capitalise it. But on this instance, Dennis Pratt, had two options. Could have gone the outside and possibly drawn the foul, or cut inside and things open up for him. But laziness by the Watford defender. You're going to have to pronounce his name, Batesy. But number 16 has come along and
Jack Fadadze.
That's the one. But he's not that difficult after all, really, was it? But
that's if I've got it right.
It just clipped him from.
Say it.
Jack Fernandez.
I don't think so. Have another go.
Oh no, I'm meeting him tonight. That's someone else. But no, but he didn't have to do it, did he? He just thought it's almost like something to do. I'm going to clip Dennis Pratt.
It's a clumsy challenge.
No particular reason, and paid the price.
And Patson Daka, we spoke about him, Tony, didn't we, before kick-off, in depth about the season that he's having so far. Before today, it was 6 league goals in 8 league starts, and he's got another one for his tally.
Yeah, they all count as well, Dan, don't they? And never any doubt, you know, he immediately grabbed hold of the ball, and as I said, when I watched it live, it just no hesitation, none of this stuttering run-ups and all sorts of silly things or bended runs. He just sort of strolled up very purposefully. And the goalkeeper, to be fair, Ben Hamer, he sort of read that he was going to put it into that corner, but it was just such precision with it, such power behind it. It was always going to go into the back of the net. And I mean, in general, Patson probably didn't have one of his better games today, and he did get a little bit frustrated. He was coming deep at times because that's what happens. If you're playing up front and you're not really getting a touch of the ball or seeing the ball, then you start drifting into midfield to get on the ball a little bit. He got clattered in the first half, and he perhaps wasn't quite as mobile as he would have liked to have been. But he'll take the goal, and he's on a great run of form at the moment.
Yeah, which is what again we spoke about before the game, Jerry, wasn't it? And there was no doubt, was there really, when Patson picked up the ball?
No, I think, as Matt said, there's an air of confidence, there's an air of self-belief around Patson Daka now. When he's in front of the goal, we've seen it last week with his penalty, which was just as emphatic as this one, even though the keeper goes the right way. He literally, there was no chance he was ever getting anywhere near it. And it's a great headache for Enzo Maresca to have when you've got 3 strikers in a match day squad, and obviously Kelechi and Nacho still to come back. So you've got 4 top players in this league to choose from. But at the minute, Patson Daka is, you have to say, is just sitting top of the tree at the minute. So, and he's continued. And he gets a little bit frustrated at times. We've seen Jamie Vardy do that at times, coming deep to get the ball. But I think, you know, if you take the game as a context, the whole game, then it was just one of those games where, especially in that second half, the likes of Pats and Daka was never going to see a lot of the ball. You know, obviously, I don't know if they changed stuff at half-time, Watford, but, you know, it was the fact that after that second goal went in, it was basically, you know, backs to the wall stuff for Leicester.
Well, yeah, after conceding the one goal, really, wouldn't it? Yeah, Leicester looked like they were cruising at one stage. As Tony mentioned, sometimes it's difficult to stir yourselves, like, you know, to the top of your game, despite what the manager's messaging to you, etc., and despite what you're telling yourself as a player. But yeah, Leicester was sort of, I wouldn't say cruising, maybe too strong a word, but you know, trying to sort of play at their own pace type thing. They didn't feel like it was absolutely imperative that they're playing as well as they possibly can, sort of thing, you know, to get through the game. If you know, that's the impression it gave. I don't know if it's just one of those days as well where, you know, things don't come together for whatever reason. Having said that, as I'm talking, I'm mulling things over in my mind. Leicester had numerous situations that they didn't capitalise on as well as they'd like to, and that's where I've got like even more respect than I do normally for Ricardo there with his goal. There were situations similar to that, Dewsbury Hall in particular, one or two others. Decision making not quite just right, or the touch wasn't quite just right, or a little bit took you wide, or it took you too close to a challenge, or there was a slight delay. Ricardo executed that instance perfectly from start to finish.
Yeah, it's a finish I'm sure Tony Cottee would have been very proud of, Tony. And I was going to come to you next and ask you about that goal, because from start to finish, it's fantastic. It's got to be up there amongst one of Leicester's best of the season.
Absolutely, Dan. Yeah, it was a wonderful goal. You know, goalkeeper into midfield, a couple of passes, the breakout from Ricardo, and when he finally got the ball, he ran about in the centre circle that I'm sitting here looking at the moment, and he just kept going, and I just felt he was going to overrun it, but he didn't. He managed to get the ball out to Fatah, who carried on his run into the box. A couple of touches from him, he gave it back to Ricardo, first time finish, and it was a fantastic goal, end to end stuff, goalkeeper, and then straight into the back of the net at the other end, and that really top goal from Leicester. And you know, it's the sort of goal that I'm sure you know, Enzo would probably dream about his team scoring. It's his perfect goal, I would have thought. You know, when the goalkeeper gets it and then it goes in at the other end and that. But it was a sensational goal, and fair play to Ricardo, because he really made that happen.
Yeah, and good from Fatawu as well, Tony, to have the composure to find Ricardo.
Yeah, I thought he was going to shoot. I'm just watching a replay of it now. He's sort of a couple of touches, isn't it? And, you know, normally we've seen him and Mavididi as well. They just get the ball and they work the ball, don't they? And then they do that curling shot towards the far post. I'm right behind him and I'm thinking he's going to shoot here, and he didn't. He just played it to Ricardo. Perfect weight on the ball, and he just put it in. You know, he made it look easy, Ricardo, but it certainly wasn't an easy goal.
Well, I tell you what was key in that goal as well. Before Ricardo even actually received it, I haven't actually seen the evidence of how they did it or whether it was intentional, but it was Livermore getting drawn out of his position. He's in that holding midfield role, but he was in an advanced role for whatever reason. I don't know if that was a Leicester player attracting him or whether he decided to venture forward and it worked against him. But that shows you how fine the lines are, but also how sharp Leicester are to recognise that. Ricardo's moved into that position, realised Livermore's out of his zone, if you like, and there's an opportunity. Winks had spotted him. Great vision as usual, and from that the rest flowed. But you know, that might only happen 2 or 3 times in the game that Livermore got distracted. But Leicester were able to capitalise, Ricardo in particular.
It was all about maximising that opportunity.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we spoke about.
I don't think they did it often enough.
Well,
today.
exactly. We've spent a bit of time talking about the opportunities that Leicester had, and they didn't maximise them. So again, it boils down to the moments in games. It wasn't a free-flowing game. It wasn't like Stoke last week. But they maximised that moment, which is the most important thing. All right, they didn't maximise other moments. But in that moment, it all came together. Yep. And Ricardo and Harry Winks were central to it. And obviously Ricardo finishes it off. And it was just a great moment in the game. You know, from back to front, sweep and move, and Ricardo finishes it off. Fantastic.
The amount of times players get in that scenario, and I'm screaming at them, whether it's quietly or loudly or whatever. But we were watching the games. Like, just drive, go as far as you can, draw that challenge. Ricardo did that. Tony Cottee saying there, he thought he'd actually knocked it too far. I didn't feel that myself, but Tony's there. So, but I thought, yeah, he's drawn the challenge, he's played it, now he's opened it up. He's given Fataru time for options there. Like Tony, it crossed my mind that he might shoot, but he took the right option. Fair play to him. Slides it into Ricardo's way, and things open up for you when you do that. Don't play the pass too early. That's what defenders want.
Have you got a man of the match for us, Tony? Who stood out for you in a Leicester shirt this afternoon?
I'm probably going to surprise you here, guys. You know me, Owen, always like forwards union, pick a forward, etc., or a midfield player, but it was very, very difficult for the forward players to get into the game. The final ball, I think that was one of the big problems today for Leicester. He didn't really arrive too much during the course of the game. So you then look at defensively, and I think Ricardo comes into consideration, obviously, for a sensational goal. But I'm going to be a part of the centre half union, and I'm going to give it to Wout Faes. I thought his defensive performance was fantastic. A couple of really, really timely interventions that would have gone a little bit unnoticed unless you was actually at the game. Yeah, he rode his luck a little bit, a couple of deflections that nearly went into the back of the net. But overall, he was leading. You could see him talking to young Ben Nelson, and I just thought it was a really, really solid performance from him, as he has been all season, I might add.
Yeah, another good Wout Faes performance, and Jerry agrees with that decision as well.
I thought he might.
Does he?
No, I think he was solid. Yeah, absolutely. As Tony said, he's rode his luck, but
be honest, Ted.
I think early today, we got his head on a lot of stuff today. Obviously with Vestergaard out, you've got a young kid alongside you. Well, two young kids coming on. Doyle goes into centre half, and obviously before that Ben Nelson. So he was key today, to be that positive influence on the younger lads. So yeah, it was as commanding as I've seen him in a game where they've been under pressure for 10, 15 minutes or so, and he stood out and he's going to attack the balls early. And when his first share, yeah, could have been a little bit unluckier with the deflections, but thankfully that didn't happen.
Next up, attention, of course, turns to the game on Tuesday evening. Here against Sheffield Wednesday. We know they're struggling towards the bottom of the table. They had a brilliant win last night against Birmingham, so it won't be easy, but Leicester will fancy the chances again, and it's a game available for everybody to watch as well on Fox's Hub. Yeah,
again, these are the banana skin games, when you're playing someone in the bottom three. You're sailing high at the top of the league. You come up against a team second bottom, and you think it's going to be a walkover. And obviously it's not. We've been there ourselves as ex-players. So this will probably be, and you've seen with Southampton today, conceding 3 goals, going behind twice, going back. Southampton, yes, they clawed it back, but it just shows you that every game in this division is crucial. Well, it's top versus bottom or second versus third. You've got to give the respect due to every team in this league, because one thing the teams in the bottom will be doing between now and the end of the season is working as hard as they can to try and get a result, and that will not change on Tuesday night.
I think Leicester have dealt with that pretty well, though. It is true, everything that Terry's saying, but Leicester don't drop too many points against teams in the bottom half today. No. Sheffield Wednesday springs to mind.
Away.
That's about it, isn't it? Yeah. That's about it in the bottom half.
Yeah, I mean, that is the only concern that you have. I'm not saying it's a concern even, but as I say, these results do have a habit of, or these fixtures, should I say, do have a habit of, breaking people's coupons.
Well, to be fair, they'll take encouragement from the fact that they did.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Get a point against them at home.
Could have won the game.
Yeah, quite feasibly. Different ways to look at it. Leicester just have to apply themselves.
That's it.
As well on Tuesday, every bit as much as they did today. But listen, we know what they're capable of, and more often than not, they produce enough of it to get by, don't they? To say the very least.
Tony Cottee, you can have the final say as you witnessed that today in the flesh at Vicarage Road. All of the Leicester fans going home, and the Leicester management and players will be very happy with what they've done today.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a workmanlike performance. Their final ball wasn't brilliant, but grinding away, just kept at it, scored a sensational second goal. Another goal for Patson Daka, a good performance from Wout Faes. Young Ben Nelson played well. So a lot of positives to take out of the game for Leicester, and most importantly of all, a huge 3 points.
Thank you very much to Tony Cottee there at Vicarage Road, to Jerry Taggart and to Matt Elliott for their company this afternoon. Leicester City are averaging over 2.4 points a game this season in the Championship, which is a fantastic record. Hopefully that can continue on Tuesday evening. That game with Sheffield Wednesday is available to you. You can get a Game Pass wherever you are, including here in the UK, for just £10. There is a QR code at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. There, all you need to do is scan that and you can pre-order it and watch all the action with us on Matchday Live on Fox's Hub from 6:45. But that is all we've got time for this afternoon after another victory at Vicarage Road today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody.